Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, then I'm so happy to meet you. If not, then welcome back. As you can tell by the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking about being an autistic adult and making friends. I'm going to talk a little bit about the challenges in making friends and maintaining friendships, and a few tips at the end that I think might help some people in making friends. As always, I'm speaking very much from my own experience here. I'm sure other people have had different experiences, and if you want to share them in the comments below, then absolutely go for it. I also wanted to very quickly say that April is Autism Acceptance Month. If you're watching this and you don't know a lot about autism, then it's a perfect time to learn more about it and to listen to autistic voices, so YouTubers, influencers, bloggers, and to really get an understanding of what it means to be autistic from autistic people themselves. As always, subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications bell, and you will get notified each time I have a new upload. If you like the sounds of today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. I will also leave all my other social medias in the description box down below. So let's get into today's video. So first of all, I'm going to talk about why I think it can be challenging for autistic adults to make friends and maintain friendships, and this is speaking a lot from my own experience. So I would say the first thing I'm going to talk about is sort of social cues. And so I think sometimes autistic people can miss social cues, but also we can misunderstand certain jokes and things like that. Like, I know sometimes someone might make a joke and it's like sarcastic or whatever, and I'll just be there with a blank face, like I won't know, like I'll be taking it literally. So I think sometimes that can get in the way of sort of making friends or understanding jokes, understanding the way somebody else is. Another thing is we're not unsociable, but we can have difficulty socializing in certain environments. And that's because of crowds, because of smells, because of noise, and because this can lead to sensory overloads, autistic meltdowns, burnout, shutdown. And so being in those environments can be difficult for us. And so many autistic people will avoid certain environments, and that can make it a little bit more difficult to make friends if you can't go to a pub, if you can't go to a restaurant, if you find shopping centres really hard, whatever it may be, that can affect how you socialise and how you make friends. A big thing, and I just mentioned, is burnout. And so when I say burnout, what I really mean is that we are extremely tired. And I can only explain it that way. And that means that when we're suffering from burnout, we find it really difficult to make plans. We find it difficult to maybe stick to plans. And sometimes people can't understand that and kind of think that we're just being lazy, or we just don't want to meet them, or whatever the case may be. And I think that's why it can be difficult to maintain friendships. Like, even if you do make friends, sometimes because you can't keep up with plans the way someone else might be able to, it can be hard to maintain that friendship. Like if you make friends at school or college or whatever the case may be, sometimes carrying on those friendships and being able to make the effort to keep up a friendship can be quite difficult. The next thing is, I think there is a lack of social spaces for autistic adults. So when I say that, I mean a lack of maybe groups specifically for autistic adults, a lack of meetups for autistic adults, maybe organizations or groups, etc. And I think that if there was more spaces that were specifically for autistic people, it'd be a lot easier for us to make friends and to be able to maintain friendships and meet up and do things together. The next thing is, I think a lot of people have made their friends sort of in school or in college, and sometimes when you get to adulthood and you're no longer maybe in education or whatever, it can be difficult to sort of try and push yourself into groups of friends or try and make friends. Another thing is, with autistic people, there is a lower employment rate. And for adults, a lot of people will make friends through work. If autistic people don't have that opportunity to work, then you're missing out on making friends at work, you know, your colleagues, going to office parties or going on work events or trips or whatever it may be. And because of that lower employment rate, it means that autistic people don't get out and about into the workforce like other people would. The last thing is, I think people get bored of our special interests. Let me just leave that one there for a second. I know that particularly in school, not so much as I've gotten older, because I've learned that people don't need to hear absolutely everything about a horse. But for me, horses was and still is one of my main special interests. But also as an adult, I can get like different special interests as time go on. So that means like I could have an interest in something, and once I have an interest in something, I can keep talking about it, like yap. And I probably don't realize that sometimes people can get bored of that. My mother listens to me, but she kind of has to. But other people can get bored of hearing about whatever the case may be, and I'm talking about particularly like social issues and things like that. I get really passionate about things like that, and sometimes that's all I'll talk about. And I think that sometimes neurotypical people probably don't understand special interests and understand why we talk about so much and why we enjoy talking about our special interests so much. So I feel they are some of the reasons that autistic people can find it hard to make friends, particularly in adulthood. I have come up with a few tips, because I don't want this to be a negative video. I've come up with a few tips that I think might hopefully help autistic people out there who do want to make friends. So the first tip is to join maybe like Facebook groups for autistic adults, because at least that way you're getting to speak to other people, and perhaps you might see people arranging to meet up or something like that. But as always, when you're online, be sure to be careful. If you're meeting up with people, it has to be a public space, and it's also better to meet in groups rather than one-on-one. But when you join those online groups or the groups on Facebook, you will get to know other people, and you'll also get to share your experiences and hear other people's experiences as well. The next one I would say is use your special interests to your advantage. So whatever your special interest may be, find maybe a club or an organization or a group that's focused on that special interest, and that, you know, going in there you can talk about your special interest, and it could be a really good way of getting to know other people. For example, if it's horses, horse riding, chess, join a chess club, things like that will be a way into making friends, and you know you have something to talk about. Another thing I think could be really good, if it's a case of, because I mentioned employment, and if it's a case that you're struggling to get employment, which a lot of autistic people do, I think perhaps volunteering. It could be a great way. It could also be a way of making friends as well. You're getting out and about, you're socializing, and if you do want to work, then it's preparing you for the workforce as well. I'd also say follow different organizations, like Awesome Training is holding a conference, I believe the end of April. So again, that could be a way of meeting people. But following different autistic organizations or groups, and to see if they have, let's say, meetups or online groups or book clubs or whatever the case may be, that can also be a great way of making some friends. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you got something from it. And if you want to share this with some of your neurotypical friends out there to help them understand why we can find it a little bit difficult to maintain friendships, then please do. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.